Hi everyone, Al DeMarco here, General Manager at DeMarcosports.com, and this is going to be your Saturday video report. I've got 5 complimentary plays coming your way, including Oregon, Texas Tech, and Notre Dame, NC State. 62-38 roll with the complimentary plays after hitting 2 out of 3 last Saturday. Of course, last Saturday, more importantly, hit my best bet on the board, a play matching the highest rated play in my 22 years since creating DeMarcosports.com. That was Tennessee getting the job done against Virginia. Before I get going, let me just tell you there is no such thing as inside information in the sports handicapping business. No such thing. Despite what some short little guy with a New York accent that looks like a penguin stuffed inside of a tuxedo screaming at the top of his lungs will tell you, there is no such thing as inside information. Never has been, never will be. However, if you want the inside scoop on why there are so many free pick video reports, some of them 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes long, why there are hundreds of podcasts giving you free picks, some of them led by former athletes and former TV broadcasters, and there seem to be more and more each and every week. Hit that little button, that little information button, and I will give you the inside information, the inside scoop. And trust me, guys, I've been in this industry since 1983. I'll shoot you straight. I'll tell you why. It all comes down to money. So check it out. Okay, let's get busy with your complimentary plays. And we are going to start with that little game between Oregon and Texas Tech in Lubbock. Listen, so Oregon beat up the Little Sisters of Poor last week, that being Portland State. I mean, listen, you, me, and 9 other guys could have been in Portland State last week. 81-7, the Ducks won in Eugene. I mean, you really can't say anything about the game. The most important takeaway is that Bo Nix was healthy. Remember last year when he hurt his ankle late? Well, he's healthy. Bottom line, that's the thing. He looked like the Bo Nix that last year completed 72% of his passes for 3,600 yards and 29 touchdowns through the air, and ran for 500-some yards and 14 more touchdowns on the ground. Makes you wonder why the guys in Auburn couldn't unlock that talent, right? Texas Tech, 78-minute inclement weather delay in Laramie against Wyoming. When the game finally starts, the Red Raiders come out. They jump out to a 17-0 lead, aided in part by a couple of turnovers by the Cowboys. But this is a Texas Tech team that a lot of people thought would be a dark horse candidate to win the Big 12. How do you blow a 17-0 lead and lose 35-33 in double overtime to a Cowboys team that was 110th in scoring offense last year, averaging just 21.2 points a game, 113th in total offense last year, averaging just 313.6 yards a game? Texas Tech had problems defensively last year. I don't think they corrected those problems. So even though you're coming back home, you're going to stop Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks offense? I don't think so. Yeah, I think this line is dirt cheap. 6.5 points. Again, when that line is 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, I am buying down that half point with Oregon. Next play, and I'm doing these in the order that I like them, is going to be Notre Dame minus the 7.5 at NC State. One of the reasons I didn't use Notre Dame as my best bet today is because inclement weather is expected in Raleigh, North Carolina. Going to be light rain, hot and humid, but light rain probably around 10 o'clock in the morning for this noon kickoff. And I was looking at the hourly forecast. Hey, listen, you got to be part weatherman when you do this, you know. Probably going to get maybe a ½ inch to an inch of rain, more likely about 3/4 of an inch from the time the game kicks off until it concludes. And it's going to rain, as I said, lightly, probably from about 9 or 10 in the morning. I still like Notre Dame. Listen, I'm not buying into this whole, thing that Sam Hartman struggled when he was with Wake Forest against NC State. It's not the same NC State defense. Sam Hartman's playing with a much more talented team than he did when he was with Wake Forest. He's gotten off to a great start with 6 touchdowns in the first 2 games for the Irish, and I think that the Irish, having played 2 games, one more than NC State, certainly benefits them. Was I impressed with NC State? Were you impressed with NC State going to Connecticut and being, putting up a lackluster 24-14 win? And Brennan Armstrong struggled last year at Virginia. Now he's reunited with his offensive coordinator of 2 years ago with the Cavaliers. I mean, he didn't look that great against Connecticut with 155 yards passing. Yeah, 96 yards rushing. But I'm going to take Notre Dame in this spot. And again, 7.5. I'm buying down the half point on the Irish. Next game, and this is one that I just came across. What is it? It's 5 o'clock in the morning for me. I came across this at about 3:30 this morning. Cincinnati plus the 7 at Pittsburgh. Resumption of this rivalry. Both teams beat nobodies last week. Cincinnati beat Wolford. Pittsburgh beat Wolford 45-7. Cincinnati beat up Eastern Kentucky 66-13. Emory Jones, nice game in his Cincinnati debut. The former Florida, and didn't he play at Arizona State too? I think. Anyway, Emory Jones, 19 for 23, 345 yards, 5 touchdowns, 9 for 26, 2 touchdowns. I just think that this is a good spot to grab Cincinnati. And again, you're buying up the half point because there's 7 right now. Pitt has the backyard brawl next week, and I think this is a 3 or 4 point game. So that would be pick number 3 in order. Next pick is going to be Arkansas minus the 37.5 points at home against Kent State. Listen, this is a money game for Kent State. They got $900,000 for going to UCF, Central Florida, and getting their asses kicked 56-6. A game in which they were outgained 723 to 240 yards, including 389 yards on the ground. This is a team that is an FCS team masquerading as a MAC team. You know the deal. Sean Lewis, their head coach, left to go over to Colorado to become Deion's offensive coordinator. Just about the entire team left and went into the transfer portal. They only had 4 starters back. I mean, after the Central Florida game, their head coach, their rookie head coach, Kenny Burns, said that he only had 14 players capable of playing at the Power 5 level. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm the member of the Golden Flashes, in the past week, I'm going, am I one of those 14 guys? Or am I one of the guys that's not good enough to play at the Power 5 level? What a great way to build team unity, right? Talk about that. I don't get it. Anyway, this is another paycheck game. They're getting $1.6 million to go get their asses kicked in Fayetteville, and I think Arkansas can do it because Sam Pittman doesn't win enough games in November and October, but he is Mr. September. 10-3 straight up, including 8 of the last 9, I believe. 9-2-1 against the spread the first 4 weeks of the season. Whipped Western Carolina last week, 56-13. Rocket Sanders isn't going to play. He's out with a knee injury. Doesn't matter. They've got like 3 or 4 other running backs. They got KJ Jefferson. I think they win this one like 56-10. I wouldn't even worry about it. FYI, before I get to my final pick, you see it at the bottom of the screen. My best bet today, coming on the heels of Tennessee, is going to be another team that wins by at least 4 touchdowns. And as I always like to say, the opening weeks of the season, no matter the sport or season, is the only time we have the advantage over the odds makers because they don't have any more clue of what to expect from teams or players or even coaches than you or I. That means the lines are always softest, especially when these teams are playing nobodies the first week or 2 of the season. Inevitably, the line makers catch up, and that advantage dissipates usually by week number 3 in college football. I found another soft line today where a good team is playing a nobody, and I think they kick their asses and win by at least 28 points and cover the number. And you can get it either for half price by using the coupon code HALF, or if you've never taken advantage of the 1-day free all access pass, you can get all the plays from all the handicappers absolutely free over at DeMarcosports.com by using the 1-day free all access pass. The reason we do it is what better way to give you a sampling of everything from everybody than free because, well, guys, you can't really beat free. Your final free pick today is going to be Texas State plus the 13.5 points at the Alamo Dome against UTSA. Now, UTSA lost 17-14 at Houston last week, even though they outgained the Cougars 417 to 334 because Frank Harris, who's been their quarterback for the last 17 years, managed to throw 3 interceptions in a 5-minute span in the third quarter. That's why the Roadrunners lost that game. As for the Bobcats, they, of course, won as a 27-point underdog at Baylor, 42-30 running that up-tempo offense that G.J. Kinney brought from Incarnate World. Can't talk. Listen, it's now 5:15 in the morning. TJ Finley, the former Auburn quarterback, really ran the offense to perfection. 22 for 30, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. I just think 13.5 points and what will be a high-scoring game is the way to go. So again, in order, Oregon, Notre Dame buying down the half point on both. Who the hell was the third boy? Cincinnati buying up the half point since they're a dog. Arkansas buying down the half point on 37.5. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. And then Texas State is your last play. That'll do it, guys. Wish you well. Check out that video about the free picks, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck, everybody.